We're here at the Mesa Marketplace with one of our cooking schools. We're actually doing the stack cooking today, but what I want to do is I want to go ahead and show you guys how to use your salad machine. The salad machine is a lot of fun. All the cones that come with it do something a little bit different, and they are all numbered. There's a number on the back of every one of the cones. The first cone that I want to start with is what we call the waffle cone. Okay? Now this is cone number 5. You can go in your recipe book, it's for the salad machine, and you can actually look at each cone. Now listen, if you guys have any questions too, go ahead and ask the questions, because we'll put this on the website as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with a carrot. I'll hold the carrot up on top like this, and we'll start turning the handle. Very important, once the carrot gets down to about an inch, we're going to take the little flap and I'm going to fold that over. Okay, you guys all with me on that? That flap is very important, because if you put your hands up here like this, in here, this is smooth and this won't hurt you. If you hold your hands like this, this is smooth, it's not going to hurt you either. But you don't want to ever get down in here. You get down in here, that will bite you. You'll notice down there, I hope the camera can catch this, but there's a little bevel right here. When you're holding anything with your hands, make sure your hands never go below the edge of that bevel, because that's when you become a little bit in danger of cutting yourself. Okay, if you operate it right though, you'll never have a problem with that, but just always try to use the flap if at all possible. All right, now, I want to show you a couple of other neat things that we can do with cone number 5. I'm going to go ahead and take some potatoes. Now let me put a paper towel down like this. I'm going to take a fresh potato. Now, you guys all, most of them have grandkids, right? Okay, grandkids love potato chips, but you don't want your grandkid to eat a lot of potato chips because they're not the healthiest thing in the world. So what we're going to do is basically the same thing as we did with carrots. I'm going to hold the potato on top, and I'll start turning the handle. Then I'm going to take the flap. Again, I'm going to hold it over like this, and I'll turn that handle. Now, I'm going to use Mrs. Dash. I love that Mrs. Dash. What do you guys think about the Southwest Chipotle? It's got a great flavor, doesn't it? Take Mrs. Dash. There's 13 different flavors here, but if you'll sprinkle these potatoes with Mrs. Dash and put them on a cookie sheet and bake them in the oven for 15 minutes at 400 degrees, you'll end up with healthy, fat-free Ruffles Ridges. It's very healthy for the kids. It's really a great idea. Okay, now, I'm also going to take this cone off, and I'm going to add the large grating attachment. Now, the large grating attachment is cone number 2. This is probably the most versatile of all of the cones. Again, on the back of the cone, it all has a number on the back of it back there. Okay, so you can verify the number. I'll take the cone. This has little ears in it. There's little spaces in the back. Those ears bite into this. So if you'll take and hold the cone on and turn the counterclockwise, just grab the cone like this and turn it counterclockwise, that'll lock the cone on. If you want to take the cone off, again, grab it like this and turn it counterclockwise and you'll unlock it. So we'll just go ahead and put that on. Now, you guys like hash brown potatoes? And because all ladies know the way to a man's heart, don't you girls? Okay, stomachs. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make some hash brown potatoes. Take your fresh cut potato and hold it up on top. Now, by the way, this is also really good for cheese. Go to Costco or Sam's Club and get the great big blocks of cheese and cut it up yourself, and you'll save a lot of money on cheese by using this. But I'm going to take and turn this like this. Then I'm going to take the flap, again, I'll hold it over to keep my fingers out of the blades. After you've chopped up your hash browns, if you'll take these and soak them in cold water for about a half of an hour. Now you can actually put them in a bowl and soak them overnight in the refrigerator if you like. But you want to soak them for at least a half an hour. That will soak the starch out of it. Have you ever been to McDonald's and you got the really crispy fries? But when you try to make fries at home, they're kind of a little bit gummy and gooey. Okay? The reason that McDonald's has very crispy fries is because they've soaked all the starch out of those potatoes. The starch is what makes everything gummy and gooey. So if you like really crispy hash brown potatoes, soak that starch out of them. After you soak them, then pat them off with a paper towel, and when you go to fry them up with a little bit of olive oil, they're going to fry it nice and crispy. The starch is what makes them all gummy and gooey. All right, now, anybody out there ever been to Cracker Barrel restaurant? Or for those of you up in the Midwest, to Sherry's restaurants. Okay, you guys been to Sherry's restaurant up in Washington, Sherry's restaurant, owned by the same company. They're very famous for their potato pancakes. I'd like to show you guys how Sherry's makes their world famous potato pancakes. This is very interesting. This is a small grating attachment here. Okay, now this is attachment number 1. It's going to be great for Parmesan cheese and for carrot raisin salads, sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie. But I want to start off with showing you what it's going to do with a fresh potato. Take your potato, again, just like the larger grating attachment, and we'll turn that handle. Again, when it gets down to about this big, use the flap. Now, some of you have the older Kitchen Craft version. If you have the older Kitchen Craft version, you have a hopper on the other side that's got a metal flap as well. But the flap is designed to keep your fingers out of the blades. Now, here's what you'll do. Okay? You're going to take and cut up a cup of these. Mix them with a cup of Bisquick or pancake mix. Okay, so pre-mix up your Bisquick or pancake mix, then add a cup of these. Mix them around, put them in there with 1 egg, and just kind of whisk it around. Then we're going to add a little bacon bits, maybe some onions, some chives. Yeah, I even like water chestnuts in it. Okay, mix it up a little bit, then put it on the griddle, cook it like a pancake. Put a little cheese on top, and Cracker Barrel got famous for that. Potato pancake recipe, one of the easiest recipes you could ever make. Now, during our demonstration, we always like to show you the amount of moisture in vegetables. The reason we're able to cook vegetables without water is most people have no idea that your vegetables have 80 to 90% water. So look at the water that just pours out of those vegetables. Okay? 80 to 90% of that water. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and take this cone off. And oh, I want to go ahead and show you how to do carrots with it as well. Okay? Because this is really good for carrot raisin salad. You take and put the cone on the same way and just take you a carrot and hold it like this.
What's the difference between the two cones? Just the length of the cut? Or?
The size of the cut. Okay, again, I'm going to take and use the flap. Okay, but as you can see, the difference in the two cones here is this one is much smaller as far as the cut. See here, this was much bigger. Both of them are grating attachment. But it's like on your, who's got one of those little knuckle busters at home? You guys got one of those things? You know, it's got the big one and then the small one. Okay, so this is basically the same thing, only it's a lot safer and a lot more efficient. So I wanted to show you that too. All right, now I'm also going to take and rinse this off. I want to get back to cone number 2 again, because this cone number 2 is also really good for onions. You can take this cone number 2 and put it back on here, and take an onion. Now, what you want to do is, let me show this so I can show it at the camera as well. By the way, the top lifts off the base very easy. But can you see this camera, the camera there? Okay, this is called a hopper here. Anything that you're going to cut in your salad machine, you don't want it any wider than the hopper. Give you an example. Here's a head of cabbage. I've cut it into a wedge, but notice that wedge is just the right size to fit in that hopper. Okay, if it's wider than the hopper, then when you're cutting with it, the edges come down and press against this, so it makes it hard to get in there. So you want to make sure that they're just this wide, the pieces that you cut. Okay, all we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take this onion and cut it into a wedge. Okay, now I'm going to leave that little core right there. The core is what holds that onion together. Okay, I'm going to take the core and I'm going to hold it in the palm of my hand. I'm going to start with the top here that isn't held together by the cord. Then I'm going to take and hold the onion here and I'll start turning. And then as I grind it, I'm going to move my hand up. Now keep in mind, I'm moving my hand up parallel with this little hopper here. You never want to extend down in through here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring it up like this. I'm going to leave the skin on it. Just underneath the skin, that is where the oils are that create all the gases that make you cry. I'm actually turn that down just a little bit. You hear it kind of bubbling and popping there. Okay. Okay. But that's where all the oils are that create the gases that make you cry. So I'm just going to drop that in the trash. And then you have these tear-free onions for soups and salads. Now, let me go ahead and just kind of drop this off here. By the way, I have a pet pot-bellied pig at home, and I'm gonna cook all this home, okay? All right, Cameron, if you'll show them. Actually, when he come, just to show you, he's eating really well. And I'm gonna be honest with a bunch of you guys too. My wife is an absolutely incredible cook.
Yes, she is.
She really is a good cook. And Cameron actually prefers her cooking over mine. I don't know why, but he does. But I'm telling you, my wife has fattened that boy up right now. Let's take some cabbage. Again, you want to cut the cabbage so it's the hopper here, it's going to fit inside the hopper. Same concept with this cabbage. What we're going to do is cut the cabbage into a wedge, but you got the core. That's what holds the cabbage together. So if you'll imagine, if you turn the cabbage like this and you start with the core first, then your cabbage just flies all over the kitchen, because that's what keeps it all together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this wedge on top with the loose portion here. I'm going to start cutting it. Okay? Again, I'm going to keep my hand parallel along here. With cabbage, it's a little bit difficult to use the flap. So I'm just going to run this up like this, and I'm just going to constantly rotate this cabbage up towards the top. And all that you're going to end up with is just that little piece of core. Now, notice the texture here. The texture looks a lot like the coleslaw you get at Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay, so if you like that texture, then the cone number 2 is the cone to use. All right, now, I want to go over here though and rinse this cone off, and I want to show you the slicing attachment. The slicing attachment here is cone number, I don't know, you gotta just use this. This is cone number,
My glasses?
yes, cone number 4. Okay, there's 2 of them here, the bigger one and the little one. So this is the smaller one, this is cone number 4. I do need your glasses. Want shredded coleslaw though. We're gonna do it a little bit differently. Okay, we're gonna take the cabbage and still hold the wedge, but we're gonna take cone number 4, the slicing attachment, and we're gonna hold it sideways where we're cutting with the grain instead of against the grain. Now, everyone with me on this. Okay, so we're gonna hold it sideways like this, and you have the shredded coleslaw. You see the difference? This is cone number 2 and cone number 4. Okay. The shredded coleslaw, can you guys see it in the back all right? Okay. So that's going to give you some basic ideas on using those cones. This is also a slicing attachment here, and show you how to slice your vegetables too. Now, you can take and hold the cone like this and turn the handle. I also like to use cone number 5. I'm going to take so you can cut them with the little ridges or straight. Right. These are by the way, we're going to have the next cooking school in April. We're actually going to have a bread butter pickle recipe, and we're going to show you how to turn these cucumbers into bread butter pickles. Okay, you do the same thing with cucumbers. You can have them like this or the slicing attachment. So join us for the next cooking school too. It's the one I really want to be careful with here. Okay. This last attachment is the julienne fry attachment. Okay. This attachment is cone number 3. This is the one you have to be extremely cautious of. You'll notice the difference here in the size of the cut. Can you guys see that? Okay. This is the one that we made the bread and butter pickles with the cucumbers. This is a bigger one. Okay, now, this is why I want you to be cautious of it, because if you're not careful with this, this will take a big chunk out. So, oh, I'm sorry, absolutely. So I'm going to take a potato to start with. I'm gonna take the potato, and let's go ahead and change out my paper towel. I know, the waste of those good vegetables, aren't they? Okay. But I'm gonna take this and hold it like this, and I'll turn the handle. Once I get down there, okay, I mean, if you're any question at all, even if it's a couple of inches, take and grab that flap. But you notice how you have the julienne fries? This is, I like one of my favorite attachments I use, but I just want to caution everybody about this. You can also do the same thing with your vegetables for stir fry. Again, we're going to use that. So look at that for the stir fry. That's a great attachment, but please be cautious of it. Right. Now, there is a little lever on the back side. The lever is connected to a great big suction cup. Okay, that lever, once engaged, literally has 600 pounds of suction. One suggestion, if you have countertops at home that are made out of tile, anybody have tile countertops? If you have tile countertops, that will not stick over a grout joint. Okay, so if you have small, like 4x4 or 6x6 tiles, and this won't fit on those, if you have to put over a grout joint, then you can go to Home Depot and you can buy a matching tile, the same color. But get the 16x16s, are about this big square, and put the little rubber feet on the bottom of them, and then that will stick good to those little tiles. I see you shaking. Is that what you had to do to yours? Okay. Because, you know, a lot of times that, you know, that just won't stick to a ground. It'll stick great to Formica, but if you have like a porous countertop too, like some people have wood countertops back in the Midwest, if you have nice wood countertops, then you're going to need to get you one of those tiles.